There is still no more evidence to support President Trump's latest unfounded claim that President Obama wiretapped him than there was the moment he made it on Saturday morning. There is, however, a full-blown firestorm raging over it right now in Washington, and we'll bring you the very latest on that in just a moment. First, though, the genesis of the claim that prompted FBI Director James Comey to go so far as to ask the Justice Department to actually refute it over the weekend. Just think about that for a moment. The nation's top lawman asking, in essence, for a public denunciation of the sitting president of the United States. That's where we are tonight. Let's just take a moment, though, to look at how we got here. Saturday morning, the president is at Mar-a-Lago, according to the Washington Post, still steaming over his White House staff and Attorney General Jeff Sessions recusing himself from any investigation involving Russia and the Justice Department. So at 6:35 a.m., he tweets, quote, "Terrible. Just found out that President Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism." Then at 6:52, "I bet a good lawyer can make a great case out of the fact that President Obama was tapping my phones in October just prior to the election." And then just after 7 a.m., "How low has President Obama gone to tap my phones during the very sacred election process? This is Nixon Watergate, bad or sick guy." Finally, after accusing the 44th president of the United States of perhaps the worst crime since Watergate, President Trump tweets again, this time attacking Arnold Schwarzenegger and once again mentioning the ratings of the TV show The Apprentice. Anyway, later on Saturday, the White House, apparently caught by surprise by the president's tweets, demands a congressional investigation of the threat to the Republic thing, not the ratings of The Apprentice. That's public knowledge. Now, you might imagine for the president to accuse the former president of illegal behavior, he must have had some serious evidence to back up those charges. In fact, as president, he could have called up the Department of Justice and found out if a FISA warrant for surveillance of Trump Tower had been requested. He could also have decided to declassify, theoretically, any such request if he wanted to and make it public. There's no evidence he has done any of that. And as for any evidence the president actually had before tweeting, keeping him honest tonight, if it exists, we have certainly yet to see it. His information appears to come from conservative radio hosts and websites, and the basis for their story, as yet unverified reporting from the BBC, The Guardian, and a new British website called Heat Street, on Obama administration efforts last year to get court permission to monitor 4 Trump team members suspected of irregular contact with Russia. Now, that reporting has so far not been matched by U.S. news organizations with prior good contacts in the intelligence community. Now, it's important to point out that none of these British outlets or the conservative outlets in the U.S. that are pushing the story reported that President Obama either ordered or sought wiretaps on then Mr. Trump. But that is what the president himself claimed Saturday morning. And the White House, that's what they've been playing catch up on ever since. Earlier today, speaking off camera, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said, and I'm quoting, "There has been enough reporting strongly suggesting something occurred." Now, just to be clear, that reporting mainly consists of those several British outlets and administration spokespeople talking about either those unverified reports or simply the story itself, a story they gave oxygen to. Here's another.
Look, I think there have been quite a few reports. I know that Jonathan and others earlier in the program mentioned that it was all conservative media, but that's frankly not true. The New York Times, BBC have also talked about and reported on the potential of this having had happened.
Oh, it's Deputy White House spokesperson Sarah Huckabee Sanders yesterday. Keeping her honest, the Times did indeed talk about the story, but only in the context the president had said it and that it was unproven. Ms. Sanders was pressed on it again today.
Is his information that President Obama tapped his phone based solely on something he read in the media? Yes or no?
Look, I haven't had the chance to have the conversation directly with the president, and he's at a much higher classification than I am, so he may have access to documents that I don't know about, but I do know that we take this very seriously, and we think it should be thoroughly reviewed and investigated, and we're asking Congress to do their job.
Well, former intelligence officials have come forward to deny that there was wiretapping, including the last director of national intelligence, James Clapper, who would have had knowledge of any court request that would be needed to wiretap then candidate Trump or his campaign. This is certainly not the first time, we should point out, that Mr. Trump has trafficked in unsubstantiated claims or outright falsehoods. Accusing President Obama not being born in the United States is one, saying the election was rigged, and as president making claims about the size of his inaugural crowd, not to mention the claim that 3 million or more undocumented immigrants voted illegally, thus depriving him of a popular vote victory over Hillary Clinton. On that one, he said he was going to launch an investigation into that whopper of a story, but we have not heard anything about that investigation in quite a while.